Hey guys, it's performance coach Adam Carmichael here. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you the experiences I've had last month and the things I've been learning and studying and improving on, and hopefully you guys can get some value from this. Now, this is a new style of video for me, so hopefully you guys get some value from it. If you do, make sure you give it a like, let me know in the comments below, and I can make this a monthly thing of reflecting and sharing the experiences I've had with you guys. So first of all, the month started for me back in England. I was at a friend's wedding, which was absolutely amazing. Back in England, catching up with friends, in the sunshine, and watching one of my best friends get married. Such a good experience, and start off the month with a bang. Then I flew to Singapore for a Tony Robbins event. Now, in order to get to this event, I had to fly from London to Singapore. It was a bit of a big drama. I missed my flight. Now, my flight was already pushing things tight, and when I missed it, I was like, I can't get to the event in time. After the initial panic, I managed to book a flight that left 7 hours later, which arrived in Singapore 1 hour before the event started. So I had so much stress, so much drama of getting to these events, and I arrived very short notice, but it all worked out well anyway. But lesson to you guys is when you have a flight, especially a long haul flight, check the night before that you got the time right, because it's a bit embarrassing when you don't. But apart from that, got to Singapore, went to the Tony Robbins event, and had an amazing time. I've actually done a full video on the experience I had there, the lessons I learned from the Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, which I'll put somewhere around this video, so check that out. After 4 days in Singapore, I flew back to Bali, and I've been settling back into my home life here. When you've been gone from Bali for 3 weeks, a month or so, it does so feel like home when you come back, and it's always really good to get back into my life that I've got here. So I've been trying to, this month, work on 3 certain areas, and they've been inspired by my time at the Tony Robbins events. So the first thing I've been working on in my own days is to create a peak state. Peak state all day long. So what does a peak state mean? To me, it means feeling inspired, enthusiastic, motivated, and enjoying what you're doing. When you enjoy what you're doing, you're so much more productive, you get more done, and I'm trying to cultivate a peak state all day long. Do I succeed all day? Not always, but I'm definitely getting better at performing at a high level throughout my day. So I'll just talk you through how I've started to structure my days in order to be in a peak state all day long. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I do my morning meditation, which I've been doing for 3, maybe 4 years straight now. I then do a priming exercise, a Tony Robbins priming exercise, where basically you oxygenate the body, you move the body, you then flow energy through the body, feel grateful, and then you think about your goals for the day or for the future. So I'm not going through it in the details of that, but I'll link below a link to the Tony Robbins priming exercise. I find it really useful for getting yourself in an optimal state. Then I plan out my day, and do some reading, get the mind going. So I've been doing these things for a while. I added the Tony Robbins priming thing, but one of the main things I've really added to my day to cultivate a peak state is around the midpoint of my day, which for me is around noon, because I get up at 5 a.m. I've started to stop my day and meditate. I've been doing this thing called the eco meditation. I'll talk about it later in the video because it's from a certain book that I've been reading. But eco meditation, I basically zone out of my days and get myself into a more relaxed state, and it stops me from stressing out, and it keeps me in this high peak energy state. Another thing I've started to do to cultivate a peak state in my days is before I go to bed, I review my day and journal, reflect on my day, and again, I do a little bit of meditating, and I think about my goals, think about how my days went, and I put myself into an optimal state. Now, what I find out when you do an evening kind of meditation or evening reflection, it really helps you the following day. It really helps you to wake up motivated, passionate about what you're doing, and in alignment with your goals. So yeah, trying to cultivate this peak state. Other things I've been doing is moving my body more. Tony Robbins is big on pumping the body, going, jumping about. So I'm trying to spend more time standing, more time outdoors, more time moving, and that's really, really helping me to cultivate a higher performance. That's the first thing I'm working on. The second thing I've been working on is trying to think bigger, trying to cultivate a mindset where you set goals for yourself which are really far out there. They're really big, but they excite you, they get you fueled, they get you passionate. I think often we go through life setting incremental goals, things that are slight improvement on our current situation, which are fine for the most part, but sometimes you need to feel inspired, passionate, and really push for what you're capable of. And we always seem to find a way to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves, so why not aim big? Why not set the goal really high for yourself and see what you're actually really capable of? So I'm challenging myself every day to set a big vision for myself and to live in alignment with that big vision and push myself. So every day I'm visualizing my big goals. I've created a vision board on my wall, which is in line with my goals, and I'm really trying to get myself to think, what am I capable of, and what am I working towards over the long term. And the third thing I've been working on last month was create more valuable videos. I've just hired a videographer / editor who's creating this video. You'll see the editing is very different to my previous styles. I'm just trying to create more value for everyone around me. That's my friends, my family, the people I coach, YouTube, anything I'm producing content for. I'm really trying to up my game and trying to provide as much value as I can for those around me. So that's the 3 things I've generally been working on. And yeah, I've been back in Bali, having great experiences here as well. And yeah, basically I'm going to talk about what I've been reading and the books I've been learning from, and see if you guys can get some motivation from those. So the first book I've read last month was Mind to Matter. So this is by a guy called Dawson Church, and it's very similar to books by, say, Joe Dispenza. If any of you guys are familiar with Joe Dispenza's work, this is a natural add-on. If not, I'll quickly explain how this kind of mind to matter stuff works in simple terms. So he starts the book in a good context, but he basically says, thoughts become things, okay? So imagine this table or a chair. We can very quickly go, okay, somebody obviously thought of this table or a chair, and they picked the dimensions, and it was in their head, and then it became a thing. We can all see that thought become a thing in that scenario. Then on the extreme end, he talks about things that don't work. So like, let's say I wanted to beat Usain Bolt in the 100-meter sprint and win the Olympics, 100 meters. I can visualize that all day. I can think about it all day long, set my intentions out there, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to beat Usain Bolt 100 meters. Well, he's retired 10 years or whatever. I just haven't got the genetics and it's just not possible. So he talks about the simple stuff like creating a table or a chair, and the extremes that you can't achieve, no matter how much you think about it, like winning the Olympics 100 meters. And then there's everything in between. Now he seems to think, well, the pretense of the book is a lot of that area in between is very malleable. We can make so many things happen with our minds if we put enough intention towards it, have enough emotion, and we basically change our biochemical or chemistry in order to be in alignment with those goals. So very, very, very powerful book about heightening emotions, setting intention for what you want, and how this changes the physical world. Really, really interesting. So if you guys haven't already, I'd say check out this book or check out some books by Joe Dispenza. Really, really good. Now, what I mentioned, what I'm doing every day now is this thing called echo meditation, which I also got from this book. And this is basically getting an attunement with higher energies, or basically just making your mind clear for the day ahead. It worked for me. So how this works is basically you slow your breath down in a normal meditation, follow the breath as you would in a mindful practice. Then it gets you to imagine your tongue being very relaxed on the bottom of your mouth. Then it gets you to imagine empty space behind your eyes. And then it gets you to mention breathing into your heart and then expand the energy out. I won't go into the details, but there'll be a link below to check that out. But what it does for me is it basically has me almost feel energized, very energized internally, and also very clear-minded and focused. So I'm trying to fit this meditation into my days every single afternoon, mid part of my day, and it really, really sets me up for the rest of the day. So many times I get stressed out by little things, and then this is like a clearing point. So yeah, I'm always trying new meditations, trying new things, and putting this in the afternoon has been very, very powerful for me. So highly recommend Mind to Matter for anyone who's into energy, thinking, thoughts becoming things, and creating a life for yourself through what you envision. Another book I read last month was The World's Fittest Book by Ross Edgley. Now I love this guy. He's a bit of an extreme person. He recently got in the headlines for swimming around the whole of Great Britain. Now let that sink in for a second. Swam around the whole of Great Britain, which it took 157 days. I think it was meant to take him 3 months, but there was lots of complications, and it took him 5+ months of swimming around Great Britain. And he got to an interview with Joe Rogan as a result of this, and he's been in the news. But what I like about Ross Edgley is he pushes the boundaries of what the body's capable of from a very scientific background. So he's got a degree in sports science, but he does all these challenges. One of the challenges he did was he did the world's strongest marathon, where he basically pulled a car for a full marathon. Pulled a car for a marathon. He did another one where he cycled the triathlon with a massive wall hog. And then he did like a rope climb where he climbed the height of Everest on a rope. But what I like about him is he's basically talking about how the body can be very, very strong, yet very athletic, very mobile, very malleable. And he talks about training for purpose, training for what you want to achieve, and not being one-dimensional with it. So some of the things I've been incorporating in my training as a result of reading this book are how to gain functional strength. So that means the muscle mass you have, maximize how strong it is, how strong your muscles are. The next thing he does is like structural strength, which is more bodybuilding and building more muscle. And then he talks about building your work capacity so that you can do more work and handle more volume. So yeah, his approach to training are really, really good. I'm really enjoying implementing some of his styles into my training programs. Anyone who's interested in building muscle mass, but not being like so like muscular or robust that you can't move, you're not mobile, like the bodybuilder style, and you want to be more functional, more athletic. This book's really, really good to read. So check it out. Ross Edgley, really, really highly rate this book. The third book I've been reading is called The Rise of Superman by Stephen Kotler. Now this is all about flow states. So if anyone's watched the documentary called Free Solo, where this guy basically climbs up this ridiculous mountain with no no safety nets, and he basically risks his life to do that. And it's talking about how kind of extreme athletes get into this flow state where they're basically able to push the boundaries of performance and what the average everyday person can take away from those experiences and cultivate into their own life. So he's basically talking about how to systemize the way to develop flow into your days, and how that aids performance. Not only aids performance, it really, really ramps up your learning curve, your productivity, your cognitive performance in every single field. Being in a flow state is universally accepted to be really good, and he talks about loads and loads of stories that inspire you to want to be in this flow-like state, and then he talks about a systemized way to cultivate flow in your days no matter what you're doing. So check that out if you're interested in cultivating more flow into your work days. I also reread Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill this month after Tony Robbins mentioned it a few times at his events. And yeah, always great to reread the classics, the books that are universally accepted as really, really good. What I got from the second time of reading Think and Grow Rich was the importance of this desire, cultivating desire in your life, and always visualizing what you want over and over. Repetition is so powerful. Also, specifically back in Bali, I've been doing flotation tanks. So I do a flotation tank once a week for 90 minutes to really create this kind of, basically it's a clarity for the week ahead, clarity for where I'm going with my life, and also like really gets me thinking outside the box and being more creative with my ideas. So anyone who hasn't done a float, I'd recommend giving it a try. It's quite in depth. If you haven't meditated before, maybe meditate first. But flotation tanks are so good, so powerful, and we're trying to do one at least once a week. Might even do one twice a week occasionally, but yeah, once a week's a really good amount to keep your mind sharp and give yourself clarity for the future. So this video was just a little quick review of some of the things I've been doing in September, things I've been learning. If you enjoyed this style of video, please let me know in the comments below. I'll give it a like so I can expand on these concepts and do more videos like this. I'll share all the links to all the books I've mentioned in the comments below so you guys can check those out. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you did like this video, give it a like, drop a comment below, and there'll be plenty more videos come from me very soon.